We go to a doctor to get well, but a doctor sees us to get wealthy. The doctor doesn't have any intention, for the most part, not all doctors, there are some good doctors, but for the most part, they're trained when people are sick, they make money, not when people are healthy. So I had to look elsewhere for the answers. I had to look elsewhere for the knowledge. And it's no different today in the church. A lot of people are sick. I go to teach in the church, and there's more prayer for healing of disease than any other topic. And I'm thinking these people got the greatest health book right in their hand. They shouldn't be praying for healing of disease. They should be praising for their great health. But something is wrong. You know, there's a cause and effect to everything. I love to read different translations of the scriptures, and I read all these different translations, and I've yet to find a translation that says in the Garden of Eden they had coffee and donuts. But that's what they have at all these congregations and these churches wherever I go. In fact, I can go to a church and I'll have something called the Eden Coffee Shop, and I'll go in there and there's no fruits or vegetables. If we're not eating the diet that our Creator told us to eat, how do we expect the results that He wanted us to have? This is a big problem we have today. We are called to be set apart, but we're not set apart. We have just as much as sicknesses and diseases, the same sadness, we look the same, we think the same, we eat the same. And worse, we make excuses to say it's okay. You see, the non-believers, they don't even know it's not okay to be eating these things because nobody told them. In fact, they're eating healthier than the believers. The non-believers will go eating anything. The non-believers today are following a scriptural diet more than the believers without even knowing it. And the believers know what they're not doing. They just make excuses to keep doing what they're doing. Something is wrong today, folks. Something is backwards. You know, in Hosea 4:6, it says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." But I did a lot of research, and in the Hebrew, it says, "My people perish for lack of the knowledge." The knowledge. And the knowledge they were talking about is the knowledge that's found in the first 5 books of the Bible known as the Torah. Starting in Genesis, it's known as the Torah. And Torah is known as the guidelines and instructions of our Creator. Now, if you truly want to eat health according to the scriptures, and if you want to eat a diet based on the way we were designed to live, you must follow the plan of our Creator. And as I started to get back to that, I realized that health doesn't begin with what we add to our diet, it's what we eliminate. We first have to eliminate the things that our Creator says we shouldn't be eating. Eliminate the things that we shouldn't be eating, and that's where your health begins. So it doesn't begin with what we add to our diet, it begins with what we eliminate. And as I discuss all the time, laziness is another form of problem. So we have this laziness, and then we have all these other issues because we're not following the plan of our Creator. So I decided if elimination is so important, we should be doing it on a regular basis. But no, too many people today are just constipated. They're not eliminating on a regular basis, and that is a big problem right there. As a matter of fact, I know people that are so lazy, they're happy they're constipated, so they don't got to get up and go to the bathroom. That's how bad it's become in today's world. Now, I realize that people aren't listening to the knowledge. They're listening to knowledge of somebody else, their doctor. The doctor's knowledge isn't getting people healthy. They're just sick, and so on. But let's take a look and see what the Bible actually has to say about the knowledge about diet and health. Let's see what it says about the foods that we should actually be eating in the scriptures. Because the scriptures clearly reveal to us that something we do in our actions has something to do with the quantity and quality of our health. Here's what we need to understand, folks. We need to understand that our Creator had a plan for us, and that plan wasn't for us to suffer from the same diseases as the non-believers. He wants us to live a life of health and not suffer a life of disease. And what it comes down to, everybody, is this. It comes down to custom versus design. That's it. Do you follow man's customs or our Creator's design? That's it right there. And man's customs is doing nothing but getting people sicker and sicker, and people are taking the drugs, and they're looking for a quick fix answers to their problems that they're creating themselves. But our Creator's design says, I created you to eat a certain way, to live a certain way, and to follow my plan, and if you do, you will be blessed with great health. So we have to get away from the customs today, and those customs we eat too much, too often, and too late. The foods we're eating, too much fat, too much sugar, too much protein, and all these other things that are the custom of today to do. Well, the custom of today is also to get sick and suffer from things like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. These are not customs of the past. These are customs of gluttony, which many people are suffering from now because people are under this thing. They're just never satisfied with what they got. People today could actually go to an all-you-can-eat place and not be satisfied after they go there. Or even worse, they could eat something and say, I'm so full, I can't eat another bite, and here comes dessert, and all of a sudden they say how hungry they are. This is what's happening today, everybody, and this is what we got to get away from. Deuteronomy 4:1-2 says, do not add what I command you to do, or do not subtract from it, but keep the commands of your Creator. Do not add or take away, but keep. Now, keep is an action word. We're not to add to it. We're not to take away from it, but we got to keep it. And there's a problem. We have a whole bunch of people today that have added to it, and then we have a whole bunch of people that take away from it. But how many people actually just keeping what he told us to do? That's the health answer right there, everybody. Keep what he told us to do. And he told us what we need to do to be healthy. He even showed us what we need to do to be healthy. You see, food has a life process to it. At least it's supposed to. It has a freshness stage, a ripening stage, and a rotting stage. That's it. So the food, it rots if it's too bad. If it's not eaten ripe enough, it's not good for you, but you want to eat it when it's fresh in its right stage. So you look at real food, produce, an apple, a banana, or a fruit or a vegetable. It has a ripening stage, a freshness stage, and a rotting stage. That's real food. Then you look at something like a Twinkie. You could have a Twinkie from 20 years ago in the same wrapper, and it's going to look the same exact way as it does today. Understand, people, it's not real food. If it comes in a box, bag, container, or can, it's not the ideal food for us, especially if it doesn't have an expiration date on it. But this is what the majority of people are eating today, and this is the problem we've run into. Not only does he show us or tell us what food is good for us, he even shows us in the way in the food. The food looks like what it's good for. For example, folks, take a carrot, for example. If you break a carrot in half, you got two eyes looking at you. The carrots look like the iris of the eyes. The carrots are good for the eyes. Celery is another great example. The minerals in celery are wonderful for the bones. What's the shape of celery? The shape of the bones. You see, the food looks like what it's good for. Think about this one, everybody. Think about a walnut. What do you think a walnut is good for? Exactly, the brain. Walnuts have oils in them that are wonderful for the brain. The food looks like it's good for. You take an avocado. If you slice it in half, it looks like a pregnant woman. The avocados are wonderful for pregnant women. Creator made no mistakes when he gave us the food we should be eating it, how to eat it, when to eat it, and why to eat it. But people today have it backwards. For example, take a Twinkie. A Twinkie. What does a Twinkie look like? It looks like a coffin. And if you eat too many of them, that's exactly where you're going to end up. You understand, folks? He didn't make any mistakes. He told us the fruits and vegetables, that's the food that's best for us. But the custom of today is not to go to the store and buy fruits and vegetables. The custom of today is to go to McDonald's or Burger King or some other all-you-could-eat place or these fast food places. Well, we got to get away from man's customs and get back to the design of our Creator. When he says something more than once in the scriptures, he means it even more, not less. And he goes on to say in Deuteronomy 12:32, see that you do all I command you to do. Do not add or take away from it. He says, do all. Do is an action word. Do, take an action and do. And he doesn't say do some of the things I command you to do. He says, see that you do all that I command you to do. Ask yourself, are you doing all that he asks us to do? Do you even know what he asks us to do? Or are you like the average person out there that makes excuses saying, well, we don't got to do that anymore, or this reason we don't got to do this anymore? Let me give you an example. I tell people, he says we should be eating these foods or not be eating these foods, and somebody will say, well, I can eat whatever I want as long as I pray over it and bless it. Well, I'll tell you this, I don't care how many times you pray over a Twinkie, it's never going to make it healthy. Do you get my point, folks? He told us what to do, and the things he told us not to do, he told us those things for a reason. So I began my path. I started eliminating the things he told me not to do, and I started to get really much healthier. And finally, the last thing I eliminated from my life was the thing creating most of my problems. I realized stress had a lot to do with my issues. And when I realized that, I remember I asked my doctor, was there any connection between stress and my condition? And she said there were no medical studies to prove so. So I finally realized I had to reduce the stress in my life. You see, I learned that whatever the doctor says, you do the opposite, you'll be pretty healthy. So I started doing the opposite of what the doctor said, and then I got much better. You see, the doctor told me that stress had nothing to do with it, and I realized I had to reduce the stress. So the first thing I did to reduce the stress in my life was I eliminated my doctor. Right away, I felt better. Now, let me clarify that. Since I am from New York, some of you might be worrying right now. I didn't eliminate my doctor. I just stopped going to visit her. And if you want to be healthy, that's something you need to do. Stop visiting your doctor. Stop visiting the health food store. Go to the produce section in the supermarket instead of the junk food section. And you'll start getting healthier for it. So we need to eliminate these things that are creating our issues.
Come out of the world, oh my people, seek the truth, avoid the evil, learn Yahweh's ways. Torah Life Ministries, come out of the world,